Hey guys, so I have this house and I was wandering around it, but it's pretty dark, so let me get this flashlight out. Ah, there you go, much better. Now we can get the light switch and turn it on. And we probably don't need the flashlight anymore. Anyways, I just wanted to show you guys a quick little thing that I made. I've been working on a lot of smaller things recently, just concepts, and when I get enough of them together, I'll have some kind of creation. I can still put out tutorials once, if you guys have any ideas of what you want. I don't really have anything in mind. This is just a kind of flashlight system, if you couldn't tell. And it's a pretty good flashlight in the sense of it uses depth. So if something's far away, it'll be illuminated less so than something that's close. But then also it'll be darkened less so than something that's close. For example, if I look like this, you can see that the window is kind of dark, but when I look over here, it gets very bright because the flashlight's directly on it. And then I can just right click to turn it on and off. And this is just using transparency shaders and a shader tool. And you can see as I turn the light onto the ground, it kind of does a little turn like that. So I'll actually go over I'll go over the code that I used for it just because why not? So in the shaders, there's this function that was made by, I think, Sir Bennett that turns the depth buffer into a linearized depth buffer with a line of code that turns it into coordinates. So you can think of distance as a value that has to do with how far away the pixel is. So if the block is far away, it'll have a much bigger value on distance. Simple like that. All right, so then we have this D, and D is basically a value that depends on how far away something is, but not physically in a 3D dimension, how far away something is from the center of your screen. So the pixels that are right in the middle of my screen are going to give me a big value give me a small value from this. The pixels far away are going to give me a big value. So then you essentially use, for the flashlight, for the circle in the center, you use this equation where you do this list of values, right? So things that are close is small, things that are big is far, and you use a negative exponent of it, and this will basically kind of invert the values. Okay, so if something is small, it'll be large. If something's large, it'll be small. Then you multiply it by exposure, just some constants. And this one has to do with the radius of the effect, and this one has to do with the intensity of the effect. And then finally, I'm adjusting the RGB values. Okay, so every pixel that's on the screen, the R, G, and B are going to change. So what we're going to do is the R, G, and B is going to be 1.0, which is just the max that it could be, as in like it's exactly itself, minus the distance times 0.15. So things that are further, this value will get bigger. So that means that the overall 1 minus thing will be smaller. So you're going to reduce the brightness. So as things get further away, you reduce the brightness by a factor of 0.15. So you linearly reduce brightness, which is what you see in this dark mode. As in things far away are dark, things closer get brighter. Okay. Now then we add back on this D. So we basically add back on the D. So if the D is 0, that means that the flashlight's off. If the D is 1, then the flashlight's on. And what it will do is it'll basically like go back and change this value by a certain amount. So you're going to get number minus stuff, because when things are further, it gets darker. Now, if you want to make sure that you don't have any things of hyper brightness overexposure, then you can always clamp it to a certain value. So you can clamp this value to 1.0, so things would never get any brighter than it currently is. But the way I have it set up with the values here, as in like an 8 and a 3, the exposure just only gets maybe a little bit above what it normally is. And it has this nice little effect of a flashlight. The last thing I want to do to this is add a time buffer flicker event. So you can actually do stuff in an animation style. So I'm going to try doing that as well. But this is just a little preview of something that might come if we are able to put enough stuff together. Not too sure at the moment, but it's just kind of an update. Anyways, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.